and welcome to Mission Impactful, where we learn more about some of the great local nonprofits and their mission in providing a great impact. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Thompson-Cusack, President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce and our nonprofit network, and most importantly, your host. First, I'd like to take a moment and thank our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. Stay tuned for our very first commercial break, where you can learn how you can rely on Trion. So we have a great guest ahead of us today. So today on Mission Impactful, we're going to learn a little bit about a local nonprofit and their mission to help provide assistance to families navigating cancer. New Day Foundation for Families. Well, let's jump right in, and I will do a quick introduction of today's guest. Gina Kell-Spehn is the co-founder and president of New Day Foundation for Families, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing financial and emotional support for cancer patients and their families. In addition, she is also a New York Times best-selling author in the book The Color of Rain, a memoir that was adapted into a Hallmark original movie. Gina is a TEDx speaker and inspirational Christian speaker. She is also a mother of 5 and wife to Michael. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, okay. I have to say, I know a lot of people, but I don't think I've ever met a person whose life story was adapted into a Hallmark feature film. So can you, I guess to get things started, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I never have to answer the question, who will play you in a movie? That's that party trick is no longer a thing.
So who played you in the movie?
Lacey Chabert. So you might remember her from Mean Girls.
Yeah.
She was Gretchen Wieners, and she wanted to make fetch happen.
She was the nice one. She was the nicer of the Mean Girls. Okay. All right.
She was. It was good. It was a very unique experience. I mean, our whole family was able to go be on the set of the film. Our names were on the doors for each celebrity who, they would walk into the trailer for Gina and for Michael and for Charlotte and, the kids. And so it was a fun experience. Not many people can say they've had a movie made about their life.
No, I don't think really many at all, or at least no one I know.
I know. I hadn't either, but it was a little bit surreal of an experience. And I will say they got a lot right, but there's a lot in that movie that if you watch it, you'll be like, really? Yeah. Really?
Well, because we know you as well.
Yes,
so
exactly.
So this was an adaptation from your book, though, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How did it get from a book to a movie? How did it even get into their hands?
It's actually kind of crazy. So we were on the Today Show doing some interviews, and we were on there 2 or 3 times over the course of about a week. And a guy out in California on his treadmill, who was a producer, was watching the Today Show and saw this, and I got an email, and the email was so strange to me because I thought, this is a joke. So I sent the email to our literary agent. I go, this can't be real, because it didn't even have a signature line. It was so random. I thought, this
from
is like
Gmail.
Kind of a creep, So no, and he said, this is quite legitimate, and this is a real production company, and they want to make your book into a movie. So that and the rest, it just sort of unfolded from there. We had 4 different people who wanted to make it.
Wow,
and
that's
we ended
incredible.
Up with Hallmark, so it was cool.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a really good movie. So obviously, I have seen it, but I'm not supposed to pretend like I haven't. But
it's a good movie.
To kind of go back to the foundation, obviously, there's some touches inside the movie about everything, but. Tell us about the why. Why did you start this foundation? Give us kind of the premise of this.
Yeah, well, so the book and the movie were written not necessarily to do this, but it did provide the origins of the organization.
Correct.
So we have that. But our why really comes down to we have lived experiences. Both my husband and I did lose our first spouses to cancer. We had this incredible experience of being completely surrounded with every resource, with love, with employers who were very cooperative. And so it was this natural outflow of our grief. It just sort of manifested in this organization that when we started, to be honest, Tara, I don't think we even really knew what we wanted for it or what it would eventually become and really truly what the need was. Yeah. We just knew we wanted to help some people in the beginning. And then it became very clear after starting to engage with the hospitals locally initially, and now we're statewide, but when we started to talk to those social workers and hear their stories of the patients who were not coming in for treatment because they couldn't afford to get childcare, or they were getting evicted, or
even gas to drive to the hospital visits.
Everything. I mean, to see a social worker cry and say, "Nobody's doing this. We need you. We're so thankful for you." And my husband and I looked at each other. We said, "Okay, I think this is what we have to do." And so it just became it became my, life's work. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my whole life.
I don't actually know if you knew this, but I actually did have a friend and her family actually did receive support from you guys before.
Oh, really?
And
No, I
it
didn't
was
know
in
that.
the form of gift cards for her to buy gifts for her kids. And
Oh, she was in our holiday
yeah,
program.
and it was
Yeah.
amazing. And to say how appreciative the family was. And you don't think about those things. You think about it as a disease. You think about it as, making sure you get your treatments. But there's so much more to it when you look at what goes through the lives of these families who are dealing with cancer, not just the person, but the entire family.
Exactly. It's systemic within like your body, cancer, right? And it's within your family and truly within your community, because one family affected by cancer affects not just the mom, the dad, the kids, the immediate family, but it also affects the employers and the schools and the people who surround you in your workplaces and the people that you pay your bills to, when you can't pay anymore. So, we think about cancer as diagnostics, right? We all need to go get our
Of course.
mammograms,
Yeah,
get your
yeah.
colonoscopy, whatever. And then that's easy for all of us, right? Once diagnosed, now you have to find the best treatment options for yourself. But the standard of care in cancer should include support services, the things that we provide. And so hospitals, they're focused on really one thing, and they have great social workers, but there's a lot of turnover sometimes.
Yeah.
And so the need for organizations like ours and others that we partner with throughout the community, I mean, it's vital. It's of vital importance to families, and it's vital to survivability, which is...
We understand how mental health plays within someone's recovery. It's extremely important. But when we talk about these support services, what is your differentiator? What makes you different?
Yeah, I think what makes us different is that, well, first of all, we provide 4 key services. So it's financial assistance, in that we pay direct to creditors on behalf of things like housing, food, utilities, transportation, all the basics. Sometimes we fix a car that needs repairing, things like that. It's emotional support. So we have an incredible network of professional counselors who partner with us. Anybody can go to our website and vet and look at that list. They're all vetted by us.
Oh,
They're
great.
incredible. They do pro bono work for us. They prioritize the families that we send to them. And our hospitals use that list as a resource. So there's one-on-one professional counseling available to our families. So we don't do a lot of group stuff.
Yeah.
Like Gilda's does that.
Yeah.
Have that. That's their thing. So we also do the grocery program, which is specifically for food resources. And then we have a resource navigation program, which some people just need to know where to go. Like they don't maybe even qualify for help from us, right? Or if they have had help from us and need further services or connection to social services, we do all of that. So there's these 4 key programs, and I don't even know what your original question was, but those are the things.
What was
that
your
we do.
differentiator?
Oh, the differentiator, yes. And this is what I really believe makes us different, is that we talk to every single family. We listen to every single family. It's not a formula for us. This is not about like, if you check these boxes, here's $500. It does not work like that. I mean, we're looking at each individual situation, and I love our team so much. Like, we have the best team of people who care. Everyone in our office has been touched by cancer. 3 of us have lost a spouse to cancer, and the other 2 are younger than me. And, we've all been there, and we care about these families. So for us, it's about listening and making sure that needs are being met, that not just the ones that we think you need to have, or not just a straight $500 towards something. It's really specific to what is going on in your life.
Well, a person is not a checklist. And I think there's a lot of times when you're suffering from a disease of some sort, we understand the hospitals have their job. Their job is to make sure they are following the checklist. They are making sure that, hey, we checked this. These are some great ways for care. But every person is so emotionally driven and scared, and it's different for each and every person. So it's exciting to know that finally they may have somebody to listen.
And you know what? That's kind of funny you say that, because we hear that sometimes. You're the first person who is listening to me. Thank you for spending time with me. I mean, we give them time, and we give them a place to kind of let go. And even the ones, sometimes people call and they're a little bit, intimidated by the process, or they don't feel like they're safe yet.
Yeah.
But our team has a way of helping people feel safe and known. And by doing that, right off the bat, they have received emotional support from our team before we've done anything, provided any resource to them other than just listening. So I think that's our biggest differentiator. But the hospitals rely on us for all this because they can't do this work.
Yeah. You found a piece that wasn't being touched, and you're able to make an impact by just providing that. I mean, these are people who are being told what to do every day. Now they actually have someone who can listen and help them through it and have them feel empowered to make some of these decisions and get help. So guys, I think this is a great moment to take a break, and we'll hear a word from our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. We'll be right back.
My name is Jenny Brown. I am the CEO of Dutton Farm. We are a nonprofit in the behavioral health system. It is so critical to partner with Trion so that we are not making any HR missteps and able to fully comply with all regulations while also being able to provide benefits and workman's comp and really support our employees in the way that they need.
And that's why we rely on Trion.
You can always rely on Trion.
Welcome back to Mission Impactful, presented by Trion Solutions. We are here with Gina, president and co-founder of New Day Foundation for Families. So, okay, obviously you cover all of Michigan, or mostly all of Michigan, but you're covering 90% of the counties, as I actually did the math. But when I look at it, there are different obstacles and hurdles when you're dealing with more rural communities.
Oh, definitely.
Can you talk me through how you actually reach them and how you can make an impact in some of these communities?
Yeah, it's been a slow process actually, because you have to physically drive to those areas and meet with medical professionals who've never heard of you, and they wonder why are you here, and what do you want from us? But we've made inroads slowly but surely, and we're trying to reach those communities because their resources are extremely limited. The families who live in rural communities are often in the category of ALICE households, which I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but
But would you mind explaining that too?
Yeah, so it's an acronym. So it's asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So these are working families, hardworking families. They make ends meet. Everything is fine, but one catastrophic event is a complete disruptor financially and in many other ways. So when you're living in a rural community and the nearest hospital that has the resources that you need to get well is 2 hours away. So just that alone, just the time it takes to get there and back to go to radiation every single day for a month and a half it's grueling for a family.
And I'm assuming it also takes a lot of these. I mean, rural communities, there is some agriculture, there is some farming communities. That takes them away from their work because we know they're working more than an 8-hour day.
Exactly.
And that's going to also kind of create a hinder on their own income for their homes.
The beauty of rural communities is that they're very tight-knit, and so they care for each other very well. The hard part is that the resources are limited in general. So when we have the opportunity to connect with a family in a rural community, it can literally be the difference between life and death, because statistically, if you're struggling financially, you are twice as likely to die from that particular diagnosis than a counterpart with the same disease, the same diagnosis, but financially stable.
Really?
And there are many reasons for that. I mean, there are stress reasons, or our medical compliance slips because I can't show up because I got to go to work. I have to go to work. And if you have to go to work and you can't get to your infusion because of it, which we hear this all the time, we're like, can you please go to your infusion, because your work won't matter in 6 months from now if you don't go to your infusion appointments now. So medical compliance is a big reason. Stress, lack of food and food insecurity is a big one. I mean, when you see families living on the most minimal amounts of food to keep their kids fed and make sure that they have the nutrition that they need to bolster their bodies. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. And we also see rural hospitals closing. You'll be reading about that more and more. So there's a lot of challenges that rural communities face. So the more we can sort of infiltrate that space, make ourselves known there, so that when somebody does have a diagnosis, if they think of not just let's call a hospital, but let's call New Day right away. Get in with us early.
Well, one of the things too is I'd have to assume that obviously if you have a 2-hour commute to get to your own hospital, say you have to stay, you might be there by yourself and completely alone during those times. And we also know the emotional aspects, like you said. You're helping to provide at least another ear and some support, not just financially, but I feel like the emotional piece is a very large part of that.
It really is. It is maybe one of the biggest parts of it. So when you have a family who is let's just talk about a patient.
Yeah.
Okay, a provider, somebody who is a breadwinner for their family. They have standard mom, dad, 2 kids kind of household, and dad's now going off to get treatment. And you're right, sometimes they're alone. It's extremely isolating. It produces so much fear within a person. So to have New Day available to them, that they can pick up the phone, call Cheryl, call Alyssa, our team, and just say, hey, this is what's happening, and here's how I'm feeling today. And they can just say, look, I hear you. I just need to be heard for just like 5 minutes. Somebody just needs to vent. Somebody's frustrated. Somebody's afraid. That's all it can take sometimes, really. But to be able to even more importantly say, here's a professional counselor. Here's somebody that can talk to your children about the things that you're afraid to talk to your children about. That's a big one we hear a lot. A lot of people say, I haven't told my kids. And I'm like, they know, right? They know something's not right. They maybe can't specifically articulate what that is, but you need to talk to your kids. You need to be honest with your children. And
the unknowing can make
them.
it worse, actually.
Yeah, bring them to it, help them face it with you, help them learn how to pray through it, or, be okay with receiving and accepting support and help when they need it, having a safe place for somebody to talk to them. So all of those things we need for our children as well. So.
Well, Gina, we talk about growing the foundation. Obviously, we always have to look at investments and things of that nature. Can you talk us through any investments you guys are doing to help build the sustainability of New Day?
Yeah, so we've had some incredible funders come alongside of our organization in the last couple of years. The Van Elslander Foundation
Wonderful.
being one, gifted us with a $2.5 million gift over a 5-year period to help build the runway to our success. So we have a $25 million endowment as a goal. That has been seeded by the Carls Foundation. We have support, I'll say multi-year support from the Weber Foundation. These are the types of organizations that are going to help us first of all, take the time that we need to do things like this, which is get out and spread the word. This exists, and we want to be here long after I'm gone. I mean, this is not the Gina show.
No.
This is about, and it's not even about Matt and Kathy, who we started this foundation in honor of. It's really about families, moms, dads, kids who have cancer, any type of cancer, statewide, for us to be able to be here and make sure that every family who hears the words "you have cancer" will also know that there's a resource to support them. That is it. We're here to build the future. We have a great strategic plan in place to lay the foundational groundwork for all of that. So we're really well positioned right now for growth, for capacity building, for getting the funding that we need for the future. It's not just about the operating budget today.
Yeah.
We have a long-term vision.
Well, I like also you've spoken like a true nonprofit person. There's nothing more music to my ears than someone saying it's not about me. Because the nonprofit industry, it's not about one person. It's about how you're going to make this large impact on a larger scale. But I really love the fact that we're seeing more foundations actually do these multi-year gifts, because it's not a, hey, get this program done. It's a, let's look at the sustainability and longevity of your organization because we find the value in what you do.
Yes.
And I think fundamentally that has changed in the past 10 years. So it's really exciting to see that
It is.
they're supporting you and see what you guys are doing.
You have no idea. You know how hard it is to compete against a project? I'm like, we don't have projects. You know what we have? We have people who every day newly diagnosed. There's 66,000 people newly diagnosed in our state every year. So think about that. Like we're an ongoing project. This project's never ending.
Nope.
And so we need those people to invest in us to help us build the future. And it's hard to be sustainable with this type of mission without that kind of support.
100%. Well, and speaking of that type of support, I guess we got to wrap things up a little bit, but why don't we wrap up with how can people either support you or be engaged with your organization? Give us some of those ways that they can connect with you.
Yeah, I think when you meet philanthropic people, they want to give in some way, shape, or form to your organization, and there's always, giving cash donations is wonderful.
That never hurts everybody.
We always love money. money. But I think it's more about, I've always said this, like I care about people's heart. Like I want people who care about our mission to be alongside of it. Come to an event and witness it. Hear about what we do. Listen to stories like ours today. And show up and just look at ways to invest that maybe don't involve cash, that you can donate in so many other ways to an organization and have a lasting impact. The only thing, what do they say? There's a saying about generosity, and that the most important thing you can do for yourself is to be selfless.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds your soul to do that. So whether it's New Day Foundation or some other organization, just looking outside of yourself. I think the world tells us otherwise a lot, to focus on us, but it's maybe the best thing we can do for our mental health is to stop thinking so much about ourselves and start thinking about the pain of other people and how we can invest in that.
There's nothing more empowering than actually giving. I think that is the greatest feeling, to know that you did make an impact. And honestly, that's why we have the show, is just to share the impact that's being given across our state. So, Gina, I really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much. That is all we have here today on Mission Impactful, presented by Trion Solutions. For more information on joining the Chamber or our nonprofit network, go to troychamber.com. We can all make a difference, and I hope you make today your mission to make an impact. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.